Hey, this is Casey the Addict, and I want to delve into the past a little bit today, talk about the insanity of active addiction. Most of my recent videos have been kind of about the start of my new life and changing, but to really understand the changes I've made, I feel like you have to know a little more about my past, who I was in active addiction. So, a lot of my memories are very blurry from my times in active addiction. But the one I want to tell you today is from when I was a senior in high school. I showed up to school. I had taken a bunch of methadone and Xanax. Apparently, I went to the wrong class, and the teacher told me I was in the wrong class, and I just put my head down and went to sleep. The next memory I have is being in the principal's office and telling me they'd called the cops, and the cops were on their way to get me. And I tried to leave, and it took 7 or 8 teachers to pull me into the nurse's office, and they locked me in there until the cops came. I don't really remember the cops showing up. I don't remember the actual arrest. What I do remember is waking up on the floor of the drunk tank, and the cops telling me that I was free to go. And they explained to me that I had fell asleep for so long they had forgot to book me in, so by law they had to let me go. So I called my mom, and my mom shows up to get me, and she is not happy. And we're driving, and this is the middle of winter, probably 6 inches of snow on the ground. And while we're driving, you can imagine a mother being upset and what she had to say to me. And me, as an active addict, I didn't want to hear these things about myself. So I tucked and rolled out of the car while we were driving about 40 miles an hour, and I took off running. This is one of many times that I dove out of vehicles while I was under the influence and in my time of addiction. So as I ran away and she took off and left, I stole a car, and I took this car to the high school where my truck was parked, and I got my truck, and then I drove back to my mom's house. So I don't know what I really gained from jumping out, because then I had to go and explain to my mom that I stole a car after just getting released from jail, and we had to go back to the school so I could return the stolen car to the rightful owner before anybody found out and I got in more trouble. And this is just a small taste of the insanity of addiction. What would it take to get somebody sober who gets out of jail and then chooses to go steal a car? My life was complete chaos all the time. So many times in and out of jail. I don't know that I've ever successfully completed probation without being back on probation within a matter of weeks. Like, it was a constant cycle of insanity in my life. I get out of trouble, be right back in it. And that was years later before I ever completed it. The first 5 or 10 times that I was on probation, I didn't successfully complete. I would catch new charges, be back in jail, and then I'd have to deal with the repercussions of the new charges on top of the old charges that I hadn't finished serving my time for. It was just a constant cycle. Today in my life, I can think through situations. I can weigh pros and cons. I don't have to live in that cycle of chaos. Before I make a decision, I think about the consequences. I can intuitively know how to react in situations. I can make better choices for myself. I can choose what I want to be, where I want to be, who I want to be with. And these are all things that in my active using, my mind never comprehended. I just made rational decisions based on emotion and kept myself stuck in that loop. I would justify getting high by being angry or sad, and being the victim, always playing the victim. And I'll talk about that a lot because that was how I justified everything I did. I lived in a victim mentality, and today I don't have to do that. Today I'm free to choose. I'm at peace with who I am, and I'm constantly working to be a better me every day. Thank you for listening.